With me here in the studio is Kate O'Byrne in New York, where she's squeezing out the last few moments of the summer break, is Margaret Carlson. Kate, the calendar says otherwise, but reconvening after the summer recess has always struck me as the second half of the year. Republicans are coming out of that locker room a lot more buoyant than they went into it, aren't they?
Maybe more buoyant, but I wouldn't say buoyant.
Okay.
I do think they no longer feel as though they're sinking like a rock, which was their feeling in 06 and 08, which is welcome. Look, they're looking at the polls. They've been home and experiencing this brewing backlash, and they recognize about next year, voters don't have to be madly in love with Republicans if they're in a mood to express their opposition to the incumbent party. And it appears, based on current polls, that that's the current public mood.
And Margaret, how has it looked from the heartland of America, the Hamptons?
That was a low blow, Al. Republicans have reason to be more buoyant, but not to be proud. Exciting people at town hall meetings with the specter of death panels, which they all know to be false. I mean, it's worse than swift boating. They have no alternative plans. They may go to the voters, though, with anger, and they will do better. I mean, they always do better in midterms, and I think they're going to do better than usual this year because of a general unrest and because of the anger they've stoked, however falsely.
Margaret, could Harry Reid become the first Senate Majority Leader in over 50 years to be toppled by the voters?
Well, it's possible. Polls have him behind both potential Republican challengers, one of whom is a very popular basketball star. Nevada has been hit very hard by the economic downturn. Las Vegas has one of the highest foreclosure rates in the country, and they're furious at President Obama for having discouraged tourism, they say, when he criticized junkets by bankers to resorts during the financial crisis.
Kate, that Republican Party, however, in Nevada has its own set of problems. That may make it more difficult.
Yes. Although Margaret's right. I mean, he's far better known, and against virtual unknown candidates, he's losing those matchups, his personal approval ratings, and they know their Senator Reid are low. He clearly is far more liberal in carrying this agenda than his voters back home, and I think he has an additional problem that Tom Daschle didn't face when he got out of step with his voters back home as a national prominent Democrat. Harry Reid does an awful lot of apologizing for all his misstatements. He winds up not being all that adept, and I think the people back home are noticing that about their senator, too.
Let me just toss this out. Republicans looking ahead. Heidi talked about the New Jersey and the Virginia governor's race. Rudy Giuliani going to run for governor. Will he go to Albany and live in Albany? And is 2012 underway now?
He obviously is flirting with the idea of running. I'd be awfully surprised if he wound up doing it. It's not just leaving, his beloved New York City. He'd have to contend with that incredibly fractious liberal assembly up there.
Right.
So I can understand why he's flirting with the notion, but I'd be awfully surprised if he wound up doing it.
I'm going to turn to Margaret on both these, but is there any front runner who's emerging for 2012?
Well, polls show, and at the moment they're basically name ID among Republicans. Mitt Romney is looking pretty good. Sarah Palin, of course, has very enthusiastic supporters in the party. Newt Gingrich is very popular. When you travel around and talk to Republicans in the hinterlands, they love Newt Gingrich. Governor Pawlenty, whom you've recently spoken to. I think governors could have an inside track, given the antipathy to Washington.
Hey, Margaret, your take on either Rudy or 2012?
Well, Rudy loved running New York City. No one runs New York State. He may be aware of that. But his great friend, Congressman Peter King, said this week after breakfast, I think he's going to run. Another close friend of his told me that if Rudy runs again, it would be for the Senate. He doesn't want to go up with the, quote, clowns in Albany. He would like another national platform, and he's mellowed. He doesn't want to run things as much as he used to.
Right,
on the presidential, I'd say Mitch Romney only because he hasn't embarrassed himself, and Sarah Palin and Newt Gingrich surely will.
Let me ask you this. Speaking of running, the 2016 Olympics, will Chicago get it, and will Barack Obama make the pitch himself in Copenhagen?
I think Obama is actually making a huge pitch, and he's going to make a personal visit. These things never work out for the city that gets the Olympics or a new stadium, but it doesn't keep the city fathers and this time a president from trying.
Kate?
I'm rooting for Chicago.
You
Al.
are, good.
Yes. I want the local Chicago officials to have a hand in picking Olympic judges, because I want America to sweep the medals come 2016, and I think Chicago politicians could deliver those kinds of wins.
Kate O'Byrne.
I know. Go U.S.
I am for Chicago, USA, all
Yes,
the way
exactly.
for slightly different reasons. I want to wish you both a very happy Labor Day, and thank you for being with us, and the same to all of you. Thank you for joining us.